Welcome to Swim Easy Speed. Today we're going to be doing another analysis of a pro triathlete. This is Joanna Ryter. She's Swiss, and she was in racing Ironman Texas. She ended up getting 7th this year. She was 3rd last year. And so what I'll do is I'll just kind of let the clips play, and you guys can take a look, and we'll then kind of start to talk about her stroke. Okay, so here we are, and one of the things I think the first thing we'll look at, like always, what we can see is what the endless pool is doing. So that current that's keeping her in place, some of it's coming over like that and pressing down that back end. So it's as I pointed out before, it's just a telling sign of either the core isn't engaged enough. Isn't strong enough, or the legs aren't connected to that core as tightly as they should be. So that neuromuscular connection, that coordination between the core and your lower body, just isn't as connected as it could be. And that's one of the things that we want to think about, is that the swim stroke is this full body connected, coordinated movement, and that's where the efficiency is. So we can see here, she's got a little bit of a bounce. You can see right there, that, and this is probably where the core is kind of showing that it's not as strong as it needs to be. Because typically when you see kind of that bounce up right there, so that bounce up in the hip, so we'll back it up and I'll show you one more time. So it's going to be right here. So that bounce up in the hip, that's typically where, if the core could hold this whole thing together, then this would all be really flat, and then we'd be able to transfer that to go forward. But what's happening is the core just can't hold the pressure she's generating from her upper body, from that pull. So then she's trying to dump pressure straight up. And that's kind of a telltale sign right there when you see that kind of movement. Head position looks okay, but you can see the little bit bounce, and you can see kind of how low the feet are back here. And then we'll be able to get to see a little bit more underwater. So here, you can see she does a pretty good job of setting the catch. Comes in, but because of the angle that we're at on the water, immediately we already start with that elbow down. So then, it's just press, press, press. She didn't really start pulling herself forward till about there. So from there to there, we're just kind of pressing down on the water, which is going to put pressure on the head and shoulders to go up, and the feet and hips to sink even more. And then on the left side, it's a little bit more pronounced. She's right-handed, so left side, she's probably not as weak, or probably not as strong, not as coordinated on the left side. So then you get, same kind of thing, but just a little bit more. Head position looks pretty good. This might be a little bit too far forward, so she could be a little bit more kind of looking down right there. And then we'll get to see kind of, that gap right there, and then how low the feet are, which is all stuff that we want to bring up if we want to be a lot faster. And then the overhead, we're going to see kind of, here we see, this is one of the first things that we worked on. So you can see, the momentum's going that way. Hip is going out. She's got this kind of curve in her body right there. And what we want is just this kind of laser pointer straight kind of line right down the middle of her body that she holds the whole time. And that's what we're working off of to kind of drive ourselves forward. And then you can see kind of, it's this kind of movement back and forth right here. Here we got it on the right side, so we've got this kind of angle right there with a lot of momentum going that way. And some of that's just kind of core engagement where we're trying to direct everything straight forward and give ourselves this really stable platform to work off of. So we did some stuff beforehand to kind of clean this up, and she's a good athlete, so we're able to clean it up pretty quick. And then what we did was we went in and tried to work on her, because you can see here, typically we like this angle right here to be somewhere between 30 and 40 degrees. She's a 47, which, for triathletes, that's pretty good. On this side, we're more kind of, a little bit more, but not by much. So kind of, looks pretty good. And even when she takes a breath, it doesn't go too high. Let's see. So here's the breath. Yeah. I mean, it's not that big of a difference. Typically a lot of triathletes I'll see, that angle gets up to maybe 75, 80 degrees. And that's effectively where we're turning onto the side to get the breath. That then impacts the angle of the shoulder down on the opposite side of that, which then reorients everything. And what ends up happening is you're giving up a lot of leverage on the water. That top stroke kind of impacts the bottom stroke. So this actually looks pretty good on the left side. You can see right here, we typically like that to be about 100 to 110. 120 is probably a little much, but pretty good pull pattern right there. I mean, this shoulder is kind of, the hand might be out just a little bit. I think she could probably bring it in just a tad. The right side's kind of a little bit, more extreme. So we're here to there. The angle looks like it's okay. We'd just like to see this in further. Because out here, you're putting a lot of pressure on the top part of the shoulder. And this is typically where we get this kind of, that pain right there in the shoulder, that bicep tendonitis, because we're putting all the pressure to pull the stroke right there. The lat's kind of taken out of the equation, so we'd prefer to see kind of this more like, maybe like that. You figure midline is kind of right here. She'd have a lot of leverage right in there. So that would be the only thing on the right side. And then the next thing that we kind of started to work on was we did some stuff to really engage the core and get everything kind of moving forward. So the first thing we did was, it was the Aquavolo's got these pretty cool paddles that are really, really buoyant. They're shaped to kind of roll the hand over a little bit and start to catch a little bit sooner. And then we use drag socks to really, really emphasize that high elbow catch and put a lot of pressure on her core. And so you can see, she's grabbing the water. We're pressing down against that buoyancy, grabbing the water a lot sooner, really driving even on the left side. You can see the hand rolling over there and really grabbing the water and accelerating through the pull. Even this pressure's kind of improved her head position a little bit and her body position. So, these are kind of some of the movements then that you want to make over and over and over and over again, where we're constraining everything. So here it is without it. And you can see kind of some of the improvement that she's made in that pull, where it looks like she's really driving herself forward and there's a lot more stability in her stroke. So here's kind of the before and after showing the two, and you can see just how much better that grab is on the front of the stroke. So as always, I appreciate it. Thank you for tuning in. If you guys have any questions whatsoever, please let me know. I'm more than happy to answer any questions that you have about kind of the swim stroke and what we were talking about here. And then, just like, subscribe to the channel, and then go out and cheer for Joanna. She's a very nice person, and it was really a lot of fun having her, working with her on this, and she swam with the team a little bit. So, yeah. Again, thanks for tuning in, and we'll hopefully we'll see you at the pool sometime soon.